Hi, Dramione fam. So can I just say my last few videos have blown up a bit, and I'm just so grateful and excited to see all of your comments, suggestions, thoughts, loves. Both my TBR and my heart have grown 3 times bigger, so thank you for that. Let's talk about Bloody, Slutty, and Pathetic by WhatMurdah. Okay, wow. So from the title, from the fan art, and even from the first parts of this, I assumed I was in for like a raunchy, smutty good time. It wasn't not that, but it was way more than I thought it would be. Again, I guess this one's popular for a reason. So this is a marriage law fic. It's about 5 years post-war. Everyone is healing and rebuilding. There are still Death Eaters known as revivalists, hiding in the margins trying to rebuild their movement. In the midst of this, Kingsley introduces the Reconciliation Act, hoping to match people into marriage, forcing them into marriage to bring about reconciliation. Obviously, Hermione is paired with Draco. They say that it's like matching based on your magic, but you know, they assume that Kingsley's trying to punish Hermione or like get her in line and also punish Draco. There's a lot of like emotions about this, obviously. Hermione is horrified, attempts to appeal, and is instead railroaded into the marriage practically at wand point, under threat of having her own wand snapped and being exiled to the Muggle world. Anyway, I feel like I say this a lot, but Draco, as he often is a shell of a person trying to keep himself from sinking slowly into the abyss. But his damage here is very interesting. He's a wild card. He's funny, he's smirky, he's borderline or maybe full-on psychopath, but he also like wants to be dominated by his brilliant, cold, enigmatic wife as this means of like penance or something. There's a lot going on emotionally. It's very angsty, but really interesting. Obviously, their sexual tension is quite exciting. So her wedding ring contains black magic that protects her, but unfortunately it interacts with her mudblood scar and it causes it to ache and itch and essentially have like a progressively worse allergic reaction that can only be calmed by black blood. Once Draco sees this, he sees an opening and is soon covering her with his own blood, which very hotly and very grossly leads to a HOTTOGO physical relationship. But Draco is more than a release and a good time for Hermione. He wants to be her champion. He understands politics in this way that she's not used to. And he helps her to see the futility of like just trying to work hard and make a good case to the Wizengamot, and introduces her into the world of political corruption, bribes, blackmail, and intimidation, which she eventually embraces. And I mean, I was like, Granger, it's freaking time. I mean, it was kind of nice to see that. So there's a lot more to this plot, but I don't want to tell you because I had fun with the reveals and I don't want to take that from you. So let's talk about the standouts of this fic. Number 1, 3 words: Neville freaking Longbottom. This author says in her notes that she was inspired by this pic. Like, need I say more? I will say more. Neville's tired of being a scared non-entity and has instead become the head of a criminal syndicate of mercenaries, vigilantes, bent on taking out the fringe Death Eaters before they can reassemble. Like, so much yes. I love Neville as a quiet assassin. This was my favorite Neville by far. I mean, yeah. And he gets paired with my favorite girl, Miss Pansy Parkinson, and all he wants to do is take care of her in just every way, and I do mean every way. Holy crap. I'm hard to embarrass, I've said before, but their spicy scenes had me clutching my proverbial pearls and giggling into my hand. Wow. I go back and forth on Pansy whether I prefer her with Percy or Neville, but this particular fic will make you forget about Percy. This fic also has a huge Theo presence, which I love. And as usual, Theo is at his perfect, chaotic, psychopathic, love-starved, hilarious, unpredictable, and emotionally raw best in this fic. He functions as Draco's bestie, brother, right-hand man, henchman, all the things. But he does get his own story here as he falls for Charlie Weasley and like finds his own emotional healing. It was really quite lovely. I just love him. I always love him. And this fic was really good to him. The third standout about this fic is the strong feminist viewpoint. There were passages in here that had me tearing up. It is such an honest look at how women are treated, especially women in the media that are, you know, famous. The way Hermione is treated by the public is horrible, but it rings so unfortunately true. Her own frustrations with what it means to be a woman were so poignant. How if you deign to want more for yourself, you're a, you know, if you don't want what everyone wants you to want, then you're a selfish bee. If you don't want what your friends want, you have to just be quiet and accept it and kind of seethe in silence until the resentment grows. And then you can only be mad at yourself because you've never told them what you want. I pulled out one passage because this passage, Hermione felt sad that she didn't want what everyone else wanted, what everyone else wanted her to want. It made her think that there was something wrong with her because that's what society told her, that her wanting to live her life for herself made her selfish and defective. She knew it was misogyny, and she felt sad and angry that she had internalized it. Why couldn't she have talked faster, fought harder, and somehow refused to be socialized? Thinking about it made her feel a scrabbling pressure in her chest, like something was caged inside her and desperately needed out, maybe because these were thoughts no one wanted to hear. Like, that passage made me cry. So if you've ever been an angry, frustrated female, you'll be raising your fist to this fic. I also love that the chapter warnings for one of the chapters has male legislators making decisions about women's lives. So much yes. Lastly, if you haven't guessed, this fic is heavy on hot spice, leaning into smut, so know that going in. It's also super funny in parts. There was one line I actually highlighted because I legit cackled out loud. So Draco and Hermione at one point get interrupted mid-coitus, and the line is, her feet were back on the stone and she was riding her skirt with shaking hands, breathing hard, and he was putting himself away, which effing sucked. They didn't use the word effing, I did that. So anyway, if you've read this, let me know your thoughts. As always, feel free to rec other fics you think I'd like, and I'll see you next time. Bye.